With the 2021-2022 NBA season coming up very soon, I decided now was a good of time to start discussing every single team before the season starts. I decided to make it go in the order of the worst to best teams, kind of like my predictions for this upcoming season. Right now, I'm at the number 13 spot on my list, and at the number 13 spot, I have the New York Knicks, meaning I think the Knicks will basically be the 13th best team in the NBA next season. So in today's video, I'll basically just be discussing the New York Knicks, how good I think they will do, how good I think their players will do, things like that. Before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want to help me reach my goal of 1,500 subscribers. Also, drop a comment on this video as I But quickly before we get into the video, I gotta show you this really quickly. This is the new diversion water bottle. It's basically a water bottle where you can put stuff like your keys, wallet, and other kind of small items like in your water bottle that will make you lose it way less. And it will also just help you to not have your pockets full and things like that. Click the link in my bio if you're interested, and into the video. To start the video off, I want to discuss the New York Knicks on the offensive side of the floor. And to be honest, I don't think New York will be as bad as they were on offense last season. Last year, the Knicks were one of the 5 worst offenses in the league, and the main reason they were so good was because they had one of the best defenses in the NBA to make up for it. But this offseason, with their acquisitions of Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, and the hopeful improvements of Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin, I think that's enough for me to think that they could go from one of the worst offenses in the league to maybe even next season being an above average offense. I'm not going crazy and gonna say they're gonna be a top 10 offense in the league or anything close to that, but I do think they'll be an average offense, which is definitely a big improvement from where they were last season. Going from one of the worst offenses in the league to an average one is a pretty big jump in my opinion, and I think it's a realistic jump that they will make. They're going to be led by Julius Randle, who had a fantastic season last year. It kind of ended sour with his horrible play in the postseason, but I think that play in the postseason showed to everyone that he's not good enough to be a true #1 option on a title contender. I think we already knew that, but it kind of just solidified it. But nonetheless, in the regular season, Julius Randle's a top 30 player in the NBA, and to be honest, I wouldn't necessarily bet on his numbers improving this upcoming season, and I think it's more likely he plays a little bit worse than he did last season when you look at the box score. Not saying he's going to be like a one-year fluke, but I don't think it's crazy to think instead of him averaging 24 points like he did last season, maybe he averages like 21 or 22 points per game, especially since they have so much more offensive weapons. But nonetheless, I still think Julius will play at the same level he did last season. His numbers might look a little bit worse, but he's still going to be the same player. Next, I want to talk about RJ Barrett, who kind of had a breakout season last year and showed that he truly has the potential to be an all-star level player. In his rookie season, a lot of people pass. I expect him to average somewhere around 20 to 22 points per game this upcoming season. The main issue with RJ is that although he dramatically improved his jump shot, I won't lie, he shot over 40% from 3 in the regular season. In this upcoming year, he's going to be back in his his hometown of New York, and I think he's going to be extra motivated after being like dissed so much last season. I think he's going to show flashes of his old self. I don't necessarily think he's I don't think he's going to break out, be a star or anything like that this season. If he's going to do that, I think he'll do that 2 or 3 years from now. This is also a team with a lot of talent. I doubt he's going to get enough shots or minutes to really like prove himself, but none got a little more consideration for the Defensive Player of the Year award. He shouldn't have won it, but he definitely is a very underrated defender. They also have Obi Toppin, who I expect to be better than he was in his rookie season. Alec Burks was actually a very good bench scorer for them, and I think he'll continue to do that. Mitchell Robinson is a guy who lost a lot of the hype that he had to start his career. I hope he can bounce back and play at that level, because if he could play at his full potential, that would really make this team way better. But nonetheless, I think the Knicks next season will rank somewhere around the 12 to 18 spot on the offensive side of the floor. When it comes to the defensive side of the floor, I think everybody knows the Knicks are going to be one of the best in the NBA. They basically have all their best defenders from last season, and they still have Tom Thibodeau as their coach, who is probably the best defensive coach in the NBA. He's not the greatest on offense, but on defense, he's definitely one of the best. So I see no reason for the Knicks falling out of the top 5. At worst, I could see you ranking them around the 5 to 10 spot. Maybe you could argue they got a little bit worse on defense, signing Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier, who are both below average defenders, and in Kemba's case, he's actually a liability and one of the worst defenders in the NBA. But nonetheless, I don't think it will be too much of a problem, since the Knicks were never a great defensive team because they had a bunch of great defenders. They were a great defensive team because of the game plan that Tom Thibodeau had, and I don't see that changing. So I think the Knicks will for sure be a top 5 defense in the NBA this upcoming season, and I still think that's going to be the biggest reason they're good next year. To answer the question of why the Knicks are ranked number 13 on my list, is simply because I feel like the Knicks are for sure going to be a playoff team, but I still think they need that superstar level player to truly become one of those elite teams in the NBA, which is teams like the Lakers, Nets, Warriors, Nuggets with Jamal Murray, Phoenix Suns, things like that. And I don't even think they're on the level of a team like the Utah Jazz, like teams that can actually make the conference finals or just straight up win the NBA championship. I think the Knicks are right outside of that level. I think they're going to just be a really good playoff team. Last season, I don't think they were that good of a playoff team because of how bad they did in the playoffs, but now with the added offensive help, I think they're going to be a team that you don't want to face in the first round. But if I had to predict and be honest, I think they're going to be a first or second round exit this upcoming season. That's not really any disrespect, but you need a star player to go deep in the playoffs. If they could get a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns or Bradley Beal on their team, I truly think this is a team that could reach all the way to the conference finals and maybe even win the NBA championship. But until that day happens, I don't think this team is a contender. But I definitely think the Knicks will finish as high as like the 4th seed and as low as like the 8th seed this upcoming season. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know how good you think the Knicks will be this upcoming season. Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want to reach my goal of 2,000 subscribers. Also, drop a comment on this video, as I do respond to all of my comments. And I'm out.